Hey gamers! So we're joined here today by a very special guest. Most of you will already be very familiar with her voice as she is the voice actor of Sarah from one of last year's most successful IPs, Titanfall. Another voice that you'll also be very familiar with is my co-host for today, Iron Wolf.
Hey, what up people? It's Iron Wolf from the DirectX Talk Show, and it's an honor to be here today.
So without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the EXL Podcast the Community Manager at Respawn Entertainment, Miss Abbie Heppe.
Hi, yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, we're very, very pleased that you've been able to take the time to come and talk with us today. And I know that there are a lot of eager pilots out there waiting to learn more about Titanfall's beginnings, the announcement of the next installment of the Titanfall franchise, and a bit more about you as an individual. So let's get right into it. Looking back to just before the launch date of Titanfall and the anticipation that Respawn had to see if the game would be a success or not, and now looking at it again to see just how successful Titanfall actually has been, what has that been like to be a part of?
Really crazy. I mean, this time last year, just even after, like, right after launch, we were so busy and it was so chaotic. You didn't have, like, really a second to think about, like, what is the next year going to be, like, what am I going to be thinking in a year? It's been really awesome, you know, like, it's always exciting to have something that's super successful and that lets us go on to do more things, which will be awesome. But I think at the moment when it was happening, the only thing I was thinking about was like, okay, we got to get this out of the door. There's so much to do right now, and I'm pretty sure that's what everybody here felt like too. You don't really have a chance to step back and like actually enjoy things until much, much, much later on. It would be really nice, but like I remember thinking like it hasn't hit me yet. It hasn't even hit me that we've just launched a game because there's too much work.
Yeah.
Okay, question. Prior to the launch of Titanfall, we saw a Free the Frontier live action series from Playfight. Is that series going to continue in the future?
So they were doing those three little bits of live action stuff for us. We haven't established doing anything with them yet for future games, but there's always a possibility. They're really fun guys, and the work they do is really cool. So, you know, we'll see where that takes us.
Oh, yeah, because that would be great.
Because that looked so awesome, and I was thinking, man, I couldn't wait to see that. So, hopefully
yeah, well, they were just doing like those little bits, like that was the series. And what's cool about it too is that we have these pilot costumes that we'd used for a bunch of events. The one in London, I think maybe one that we did in Taiwan, and then we sent like the props and costumes that we had to those guys, and then it was really cool to see them change that into, you know, like crazy effects and have, you know, human characters doing that stuff.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So EA has had some ups and downs over the past couple of years, but they now seem to be really back on top of things again. What's it like working in conjunction with a company as big and as popular as EA?
Well, the nice thing is that they do a lot of stuff that we can't do because we don't have the same amount of people that they have. So, you know, that's customer support and marketing support and a lot of things that we don't necessarily have, like tons of internal positions to fill. And then it also allows you to go all over the world and to do like, you know, tons of stuff because they're a huge publisher. They're everywhere. And the nice thing about our deal with them is that we get to own our own IP and you know, they don't really tell us what to do. We have a really good collaborative relationship with them that we've worked really hard with them to build and to find people there that we love working with and that we can work really well with. So it's actually been really great. And, you know, for us to have the kind of deal that we have is pretty, I don't say unprecedented, but like not many other studios have that, and for us it makes a huge difference.
Indeed.
Okay. So Titanfall has sold 3 million physical copies. Are you satisfied with the sales and Microsoft's promotion of the game, considering the fact that it was a new IP?
Yeah, so it's like 3 million is the, and it's EA's responsibility to give out real numbers, but so that doesn't include like the bundles that Microsoft sold and digital copies, so it did quite a bit better than that, and we're really excited about that, because whenever you have new IP, like you're not sure. You know, like there's always a chance you've taken this really big risk and people won't like it or won't buy it, or just want to play what they're used to. So that was awesome. And having the partnership with Microsoft allowed us to do a couple things which were really helpful. It let us focus on one platform, which when you're starting out and building tech and building assets and everything is time consuming, and there's so much that you want to do, like it's nice to be able to focus in that kind of way. And then they really put us front and center on their platform. Like you see it still in their advertising. My parents see the cloud commercial. It still airs, and it's got like people from Respawn here, and it's really funny. And like you can see our programmers, and I still get people writing in about his keyboard because it's like in 2 pieces, and asking what it is and where they can get it. And it's just been really fun for us to be included in all of that stuff, and it's made a huge difference in marketing the game. I don't think we could have done it without them.
Awesome.
So, as we all know, imitation is the highest form of flattery. Are you guys feeling a lot of that right now with the direction that some of the newer releases have gone in, such as Call of Duty Advanced Warfare? It seems that Respawn really did set the payment for those new features in more of a outside-of-the-box approach to shooters.
Sure. I mean, it's no real secret that everybody in this industry plays each other's games. I mean, that's how you keep current with what's going on and what people like and what's interesting and what is pushing the genre forward. I mean, you can't so I guess my thing is it's not surprising, but at the same time, we pay attention to what other games are doing, and we take, inspiration away from other games because we want to make sure that we're doing stuff that's in current with where the industry is at. So, but yeah, I mean, it's really nice to see people point out that we did something that was, really unique and innovative for, the genre that we're in.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest complaints that was going around on social media as soon as Advanced Warfare was revealed is that they're like, but this is Titanfall. We've done this already. But once they actually got to play the game, they could see that it was something very, very different. But I think we already had that, the exoskeleton kind of feel and the wall running and all that kind of stuff was already ingrained in us from Titanfall. And so to see that come out in another platform, on another game so quickly, it felt very Titanfall, and just it was big props to you guys.
Thanks. I mean, all of those things, whatever game that you see them in, are always going to fit into it into a different way because the sort of core gameplay is fundamentally different, I think it's really the combination of stuff in Titanfall that makes it feel totally unique. It's the movement combined with, and with the mechs and everything else that makes it Titanfall.
Yeah.
Question. Esports has become massively popular, and I know from my experience that there are a lot of Titanfall players that really want in on that action. Is there any plans to implement esports into the next installment of Titanfall?
We've gotten tons of feedback from esports players, and while it's too early for me to talk about what we're doing in the next game, obviously, it's this weird thing. Like we looked into doing kind of tournament stuff and setting up those kind of things for Titanfall 1, and as it turns out, especially when you don't have your sort of own distribution platform that you make money off of, like a lot of the other companies that are huge in the esports scene, it's expensive and time consuming, and doing those features are time consuming, especially when you're trying to get a game out the door that you want to have the features to support all players and not just a specific section of the community. So one of the things that we've done after launch is really, gather all of that feedback and think about what we're going to do for the next game. So, I mean, I hate to give you the dodgy, we can't really talk about that kind of stuff yet, but, realistically we can't because, we're earlier on into this project. We just spent the whole last year doing a lot of support content for Titanfall and focusing on that game. And, we're aware of what the esports community wants. And to be honest, we have so much fun watching the players who are super pro. I mean, we see them do stuff in the game that either wasn't intended or we can't do, and it's really, really impressive to watch people become so good at the game. I thought I was good, but I watched them and I'm like, well, all right, I'm okay. Not that good.
Yeah, it's amazing to see some of the things that people have figured out to do in the game, like the bunny hop. Gosh, that's so hard to get the hang of.
Yeah, but what's even what's crazy about it, what kind of blows my mind is I've I've been working in games for so long, and it used to be just capture equipment used to be expensive. It used to be such a pain to just share all this kind of content, and it's so easy now. It's so simple, and on the development side, it's so awesome because we get to see all of this stuff, and rather than just hear someone talk about it, we just get to visually see it. Like, oh, I did this, and here's the clip of it, and that's awesome. Like, it's really cool how that's changed in the last few years.
Oh, absolutely. It's amazing how far technology has come along in the way that we're able to share the things that we do now. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So while we're on the subject of what the community is, hoping for in the next installment in Titanfall, one of the most commonly requested additions to the game is a campaign, and the other is more variety in weapons. Are these things that you would really like to see added to Titanfall?
When you work on a game for so long, there's always lots of things, and we, especially everybody here internally has all different sorts of things. We've definitely heard the feedback. Obviously, I can't comment on what we're doing in the next game. But the really nice thing about working on a sequel is that we've established the core of what Titanfall is. We have, assets, we have an engine, we have all of these things that, we laid the foundation for in the first game that now we can really build off of in the second. So I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that people are going to be excited about.
Excellent.
And that's all I can say.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fair enough. Now, I'm sure you had the opportunity to watch the April Fool's joke put together last year by IGN announcing that Optimus Prime will be a DLC tie-in in the game. What are your thoughts and what was your reaction? And is that something that you would have considered?
So I think that came out right as we were all headed for our post-launch party, and then we were all cracking up about it. It was super funny, especially because when one side has all Titans, we call it Voltroning, so there was already sort of a correlation to giant robot stuff that we were thinking of. We were thinking of April Fool's Day pranks, like a Kinect integration where if you got a bunch of your friends to do that, you'd form Voltron and stuff. So they were definitely in the same sort of mind space that we were at. And then the business side of me, because a lot of times I work in, in stuff that's not really community management, it's just going that's an expensive license, and I think Activision has that, and there's really no feasible way that, that you could do this, blah, 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 so I was like, so how could anybody believe that? But it was funny. It was very funny. It's always nice to see people take things from your game and run with it, whether it's press sites or community. When people have fun with it, we enjoy the hell out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when I saw that trailer, I mean, obviously straight away you could tell that it wasn't legit, but the concept of it, wow, Optimus Prime in Titanfall, I would pay some serious money to play as Optimus Prime in Titanfall.
Well, it's also nice when somebody else does your work for you, and we're like, we don't even have to do the April Fool's prank. They just did it. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, I actually thought it was legit for a second because I'm such a Transformers fanboy. I wanted it to be real. I really wanted it to be real.
You and a lot of other people who wrote in to tell us that.
Yeah. Well, who knows what the future holds, huh?
Probably not that, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Oh, well, we can always just hold out hope.
That's okay. We'll have other cool stuff.
Oh, of course, I have no doubt. Now, earlier this month, we celebrated the 1-year anniversary of Titanfall, and congratulations, by the way. And to thank the fans for the season pass was made, the season pass was made free for everybody to access. Now, what kind of reaction did you have from the community about that?
Well, to be honest, a few people, and it was a very small percentage that wrote in saying well, I bought this, earlier, and why is it free now? And we're upset about it, that sucks. And but a lot of them had also bought it months and months before, which it's one of those it happens. On the other hand, we got tons of people who were super excited. We've noticed tons of people have downloaded it and are playing, and that's been really great because it creates a better experience for everyone when everybody has the maps and can enjoy all the new stuff. So there was a lot of people who were super stoked. I got a lot of really happy tweets and emails and everything else. And it was nice for us too to have sort of a big thing to say oh my God, it's been a year, because oh my God, it's been a year. Yeah. It's still hard to process.
Oh, I can imagine. And I run a Titanfall community on Facebook with something like 6,000 people in it. So as you can imagine, I was getting a lot of messages sent to me about that. And one of the common themes was, hey, we did pay for this. Why what are we getting? And I'm like, well, you need to step back and take a look at this from more of an objective viewpoint, because what you're getting is revitalized servers. You're getting an injection of people onto your servers that you've been complaining don't have so many people on them at the moment. You can now jump back on to very, very active servers and really enjoy the crap out of Titanfall again. So there's your prize.
It's true, but I mean, it's like it's a complicated, message, definitely.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we were able to do it, and I'm glad that more people are able to come back and enjoy some of the stuff, and because some of the DLC maps are I've had some of my favorite moments in the game playing on those. Had a good double jump kick off a wall on that middle run in Sandtrap one time. That is, I wasn't recording and I should have been, and that's my fault.
Alright, so when Microsoft launches the Crossplay feature for the Xbox One and for the Windows 10 PC platforms, will Titanfall have the ability to utilize this feature, given that it already runs on Xbox Live's cloud compute?
For Titanfall, the game that's been out for a year, no. As far as future stuff, I can't comment on that. I do think it's really interesting. I was in Games Press before I did this, and I think, we've seen it attempted before. There's a lot of technical issues to doing that, and there's a lot of, I think of it in terms of my community manager brain. I'm like, but there's more cheating on PC than there is on Xbox, and if you combine those two things, what happens? Does it create a worse environment for your players, or does it create a better one because you have more people on the same servers? If you're having PC players play Xbox players, this is one of those things that developers need to think about a lot before they make that kind of commitment. So definitely not something that I can talk about yet.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that.
I understand, because there's always this keyboard and mouse advantage over a controller. It's always been like that. It doesn't matter for what game, if it's first person or third person shooters, the PC guys always have the upper hand. Yeah. Even with real time strategy games too. It's just the way it is.
And even with aim assist, and then that has sort of further complications to it. It's a really complicated subject to get into, and I don't know that anybody's done it well yet. So it's kind of terrifying.
I think one of the games that tried to attempt it was on the 360. It was Shadowrun.
Yeah, Shadowrun tried it. I thought there was a Halo that was going to attempt it, but maybe didn't. That's so long ago. Shadowrun was what, 2006?
Yeah, it was last generation.
Yeah, and that was one of the earlier titles on 360.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a tough gaming problem.
There's always going to be that latency issue as well,
Yeah.
That's one thing.
Yeah, it's definitely complex.
So while we're on the topic of new features and new technologies, have you had a chance to try out any of the virtual reality technology? And is that something that you would like to see Respawn look at integrating into development considerations in the future?
I have. It's hard to avoid at this point. All the conferences that I've gone to in the past year, you've definitely seen, VR everywhere. And there's some really cool applications for it. For myself, I don't know that the application is there for gaming yet. I get a little motion sick, and we've played around with Oculus at the office for sure, and it's really fun, but I don't know that it's better than the experience of sitting down on my couch with a controller. That said, I think that the applications for, if I could go on a nature program, if James Cameron was going to go to the bottom of the Marianas Trench again and take me there with him on VR, that is amazing. And it opens my imagination to a lot of different things. But just like any other sort of burgeoning technology, I'm enjoying seeing people's sort of tech demos and experiments on it, but I haven't seen the thing yet where I'm just like, oh my God, that's the game that makes me buy this and play like that. Although I'm seeing people sort of delve into survival horror is obviously something where you want that level of immersion. So you can see where, you're like, oh, okay, that could be really interesting or fun. So yeah, I definitely love checking it out because I don't know, it's always neat to kind of get that different experience, but we'll see where it goes. But
yeah,
nature
horror game.
Totally in.
Oh yeah, fair enough. I think for me it would be something like Call of Duty Zombies or Dying Light, something like that, where that game can really scare the crap out of you. You could add virtual reality to that as well. Like, wow, there would be some sleepless nights.
Yeah, I mean, I think more, you know, like Dead Space or what else was like Amnesia, or you know, just super creepy, quiet, immersive horror. You know, like that's the thing where you're playing on your couch and then somebody touches your arm and you just scream and scream and scream forever. That would happen to me.
Yeah.
I could imagine actually wearing the Oculus Rift in my head, and like I'm in a Titan or something. It would just look really realistic. It'll look pretty insane.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of cool stuff in it. There's a lot of potential cool applications, and as I said, we've played around with it here. It's awesome, but it's you know, it would never be our core focus. I don't think we would always be working on, you know, Titanfall first and foremost, and maybe play around on the side with other stuff.
Fair enough.
Okay, looking at the rest of 2015, if you could select one from each company that is your most anticipated game, now that's from Xbox One, PlayStation 4, or the Wii U, what would they be and why?
I think, well, okay. First of all, I've had a busy year, and I am already behind on games that came out last year. So I already have. So you know, and which is what I've been trying to do through now. Like I finally finished Dragon Age. I still need to do Bayonetta because I love the original one. There's a lot of Nintendo stuff on the horizon that I'm looking forward to, and I still haven't replayed Majora's Mask. And there's stuff that I hope gets announced that I really want to play also, that I'm like, should I even give like hope, because I don't have any insider info. I just, you know, Bethesda's throwing a press conference at E3 this year, and that makes me go like,
oh, hopefully we get
all sorts of things that I really want. And probably the things I want most. So
yeah, I'm really looking forward to see why Bethesda's going along. We could speculate that all day long. Fallout. But yeah, it would be amazing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, I have a feeling some of the stuff that I will anticipate probably hasn't even been announced yet, because we're not even at E3, but we're getting close, just a couple months. But yeah, I'm kind of, that was what was so nice for Dragon Age for a minute. I play so many, like I play online all the time, and I've been playing Titanfall all year. I was just waiting for that one game where I just want to like play by myself and just be immersed in a world and just, you know, single player, concentrate on that for a while and be really nice.
I can completely understand. I've been experiencing that with Ori and the Blind Forest lately. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that is also on my list of games to play, and because people here are playing it and they just love it.
Yeah,
I've heard it's hard, but I'm not super intimidated by that.
It's frustratingly beautiful. That's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, I mean, just the art style alone is so gorgeous. I love stuff that has a really unique look to it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. There's one question I want to ask you, and I just want to know, what is your favorite map in Titanfall?
So sometimes it's difficult for me to separate my favorite map from the map I'm best at. So when we were doing our like round the world tour for Titanfall, the demo that we had with us was Angel City. And I love that map. Also because I'm burly at it. Like I've played that map more than I've played any other map in pretty much any game ever, because I was always demoing it. So it holds a fond place in my heart. Well, at the same time, if I never played it again, I'd probably be okay. And I do really enjoy Rise, because I'm just a wall runner. Like I love to go quickly across levels, and I'm also a capture the flag player. So like anything where I can totally abuse my wall running and do awesome and capture the flag, I'm a pretty big fan of. But like Angel City holds a really fond place in my heart.
Yeah, I'm the same with Angel City, because when we had the beta, obviously that was one of the maps that we had available to us in the beta. So when the full game came out, that was one map that I knew off by heart, and I was able to dominate quite easily. So yeah.
Yeah. Now multiply that by like 100.
Yeah. Yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah.
the beta had such a big impact on people. I remember whilst we were playing the beta, so I also play a lot of Call of Duty. I have a clan, so we had to stop playing the beta at some points to go and be competitive. And I'd like try and drag my clan members away from the Titanfall beta. They're like, well, can I bring my Titan? No, you can't. Get over here.
Oh. Yeah.
People
No,
were
but I do
loving it.
agree. I do agree though. Angel City was actually the first map I ever played in the beta, and it does hold a special place in my heart too. It is my favorite map.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens, how you sort of build those attachments. But I mean, it was really one of the first, complete levels in Titanfall. So it's, it's like I feel like it's been there with us for so long.
Absolutely. Now we kind of have something a little bit fun put together for you today.
Okay.
So what we're going to do now is put you under the EXL Grill so that we can learn a little bit more about Abbie the gamer as opposed to Abbie the community manager for Respawn.
Sure.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, question 1, Marvel or DC?
I like DC. I'm a Batman person. But you know what? That's not fair because there's a lot of I'm such a split because I really enjoy a lot of the Marvel characters, and they've done such a fantastic job with their movies recently. Like,
Oh, yeah.
they're really enjoyable. Even characters that I've just never really been that into, I am really loving. The only thing, I mean, like, my initial gut reaction always comes out of that because, like, I don't find Superman to be particularly interesting as a character. That's one that I've just never been drawn to. So whenever I get into, like, superhero debates, I'm like, I'm consider myself more of a Batman person. But I don't know. Marvel's really won me so hard in the last few years. They've just been putting so much care and attention into, like, their brand and their characters, and they're everywhere. It's kind of awesome.
Okay, so we're putting you down as a Marvel then.
We can put it down
Well,
as a
it's
split.
like a split. It depends what medium you like. Like, I mean, like the Arkham video games have been fantastic, and like I love that kind of Metroidvania feel. So, like when you talk about game stuff, I'd give it there. But when it comes to movies and stuff, Marvel's done a fantastic job. So it's a split thing now.
Okay, fair
Couldn't have
enough.
said it better myself. All right, so Star Wars or Star Trek?
So, yeah, I grew up, my parents are kind of Trekkies. Like, they have, like, my mom, or the back of her car says, my child is an honor student at Starfleet Academy or something.
That's awesome.
When I went to college, she put that on the card. So, I mean, I grew up on The Next Generation, and I have pretty much every Star Trek action figure that was released in the 90s, I think. Yeah, I do. My mom sent them all to me recently. And at the same time, I was huge into Star Wars as a kid. I wrote my own treatments for episodes 1, 2, and 3, which I still swear would have been way better than episodes 1, 2, and 3. Star Wars has managed to kill a lot of my love for it in a way that Star Trek has not done.
Yeah.
And I owned like every LucasArts game in the 90s from Rebel Assault through Jedi Knight and TIE Fighter, and I loved those. So again, it's like this weird split. If it hadn't been for my parents, I would probably say Star Wars, but they really got me into Star Trek as well.
Awesome. All right, this is a big hitter, this one. Xbox 360 controller or Xbox One controller?
Now that I'm used to the one controller, I will go, like, I have both at my desk, and every time I switch back to the 360 controller now, I'm like, this feels weird. Even when I loved it when it was out. So I think it's just whatever you adapt to. Because I remember when I was a PC gamer and the Xbox came out, my brother was like, you have to play Halo with me. And I was like, this thing is gigantic, and I hate it. And, it's amazing how you just adapt to what's new and next, and then you're like, oh, this is fine. Sure.
Yeah.
But I do like the new controller. Although I still, every time I play a game and it's got a different control scheme, or every time I'm trying to like hit the menu or select buttons, and now sorry, I'm like pulling it over to, like I do something wrong, and I'm still getting adjusted.
I can appreciate that. I think that's probably why I have gotten so used to the Connect commands, because I do still fumble with the controls a little bit, whereas the Connect commands, now that I know how to speak to it in slight robot language, he and I get along really well.
The cruelest thing is when you play one game and then you switch to another, and like all of a sudden what the left bumper does is different, and so you throw a grenade and blow yourself up or something like that. Like that just hurts. That makes me feel like I'm a bad gamer even though I'm not.
Yeah, I do that a lot when switching from Call of Duty to Gears.
Okay, so
we've all done it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Atlas or Ogre?
Ogre. I know, like I still people still give me flack for that, I think, but I love something about like just heavy plotting ogre punching people with big punch. I just there's something about that character model. I think it actually might be the execution move.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I agree.
Beating people to death with their own arms is fun.
It's fantastic. And I think the first time that I saw that when I was playing the Bay, I was like, did I just witness that? Did that actually just happen? That was awesome.
It's one of the, like, as you kind of see a game get, like, come together and be built, we do tons of playtests internally, and, there's something new in each one, and that was one of those, like, when it went in, it was just joyful. Like, like when everybody gathers and does feedback, they're like, that was awesome!
Yeah, no, that was a fantastic addition to the game. So next one is Apple or Android?
Gosh, someone will hate me. I'm an Apple person. It just ease of use and laziness. I feel like I'm trapped in an AT&T contract where I don't want to ever give up my limited data, and I'm terrified if I change anything that I will have to do that.
Yeah.
And but the other reason too is I travel all the time for work, and just having an iPad when I can not bring a laptop and just traveling light and easy is fantastic. Because I'm like, throw stuff in a duffel bag and I'm on a plane.
Can totally appreciate that.
Simplicity is the key.
But I'm not getting that watch. I'm not that big of a sucker. I just want to point that out.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Like, have you seen the pictures that have been going around on Twitter lately of the Apple with just a standard watch on it? They're like, yeah, that's the only Apple watch that I'm getting.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of the social media commentaries on it. I'm just like, I don't get it. I like I don't have a watch because I have a phone. Because if I need to know the time, I can just look at the phone. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Why are they trying to bring me back to watches?
Yeah, it just feels like a step backwards.
Yeah. But we'll see. I'm sure I will have that one friend who loves it and swears by it and is like, I can't believe you guys don't have one of these.
Yeah, I know, right?
Of course.
Okay, so Gears of War or Halo?
I was a Gears of War player. So I've played all of the Halos, I think, but at the time when Halo started, I was a Counter-Strike player and Team Fortress. And so it was really hard to sort of break out of that and start everything like new over in a different shooter. So Gears of War hit me at like just the right time, and I was super competitive about it. And I had like a great group of friends that we would all just play all the time, and it was tons of fun.
Awesome. Yeah, we like you even more now. Yeah. I think I've actually seen a picture of you holding the Chainsaw Lancer.
Oh yeah, that was when I worked at G4. That was awesome when that came through the office. And the funny thing is, I wouldn't have normally pegged that as my type of game because I'm very first person shooter, very like I started in Quake and Doom. But there was just something so sad, and it's like almost a little slower than I would normally play, and I just came to love it.
Yeah, awesome. I think anybody who's been playing Xbox for many years, they kind of gotten through a couple of different generations of Xboxes without having played Gears of War and loving it.
Yeah, definitely.
So next one, moving into a different genre, Mario or Sonic?
They were pretty equal parts of my childhood. We weren't really allowed to have. My mom didn't get us a console at home until the Sega Genesis, so all of my experiences with Mario were playing at my friends' houses, and it was super fun. Like tons of friends that played. I loved it. I've played a ton of them. But Sonic was like the first one that I had at home myself, and I used to go to the bookstore and look at like the strategy guides and then memorize it and then come home and try to
Cheeky. Very cheeky.
The internet wasn't the same. But I mean, I definitely think that as something that I'm still interested in as an adult, Nintendo's done an amazing job of carrying Mario forward and making it relevant and keeping it something that, like, I'm still interested in. And I still look at the new Mario Kart and I'm like, that looks really fun. And, you know, and I've still been playing those games even as an adult. And I can't really say the same for Sonic. So, you know, but part of that is just the companies keeping those, like, relevant and cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see Mario becoming irrelevant for many, many, many years, if at all, ever.
Well, now the people who grew up on that have kids and are introducing, you know, Mario games to their kids, and they're really family friendly, and it's kind of cool to see people, you know, like their kids will have this nostalgia for the same thing that they had a nostalgia for, which is very cool.
Agreed.
All right. Okay, so King Kong or Godzilla?
I think they both had some pretty bad entries in their legacy.
Yeah.
But wow, that one's so like oddly hard because I don't have I would say I don't have a strong attachment to either. But based on the fact of how much I love dinosaurs, I'm going to go with Godzilla.
Fair enough. So this one's something that has been quite big in social media of late. Digital games or physical games?
Yeah, I get asked this a lot now. I feel like I'm still the dinosaur with the disc. Seriously, but I mean, because I really do a combination of both. Like if I'm getting like a smaller game or arcade game stuff, like yeah, it's awesome to be able to download stuff immediately and just have it right there. Although I have been noticing, like I have the physical disc and then like my install takes forever, and I'm like, but I have the disc. Why doesn't this just play? I'm the last person who's got enough energy to get off my couch and still put a disc in the machine. There's something nice about it. To be honest, it was shipping Titanfall that really made me appreciate having a physical copy of something. So it was like, I made this. This is something I worked on, and you know, it's right here, and I have a copy of it, and that's awesome. And but I'm super split. It's going digital. Although I don't know that it's going there at the rate that everybody kind of thinks it is. Physical sales are a huge part of game sales still. But I think it'll change more and more. But my internet connection really doesn't like to download giant games.
I can certainly appreciate that. I do a lot of my downloads overnight. Yeah, or if something comes out, you know, because my time zone being in Australia, and that a lot of times games will come available and I'll be at work, so I'll use my smart glass, start the download. It may take all day, but it'll be downloaded before I get home from work. And for me, I think that that's brilliant. I think that that's such an amazing innovation.
I think that's awesome, but I've also had it where I've set it up and I've started it downloading in the morning before I leave for work, and something happens or whatever, and then I come home and it's like, nope, sorry, start again. I'm like,
oh no.
Yeah, I mean, like I think all of that stuff will get better, and I'm not too worried. But for right now, there's something nice still about having a physical copy.
Oh, absolutely. And I think for a lot of us that have been gaming for many, many, many years, we've been growing our libraries for so long that you know, it's really important to us to be able to put that extra edition on the shelf. So for me, it's taken quite a bit for me to pull back from going out and buying the physical edition, although I do have Titanfall as a physical copy, just so you know. But I have tried to convert a little bit more over to digital, and I'm starting to embrace it more and more. It's really convenient.
Yeah, same. I mean, but I also, like you said, like I've got this giant games library, and I have old systems, and like, you know, I don't plug my Dreamcast or my GameCube in and play that often, but like I kind of just like having it there and having these games, and you know, knowing that I can just, you know, put in, you know, Resident Evil 4 and decide I want to play it again, or Metroid Prime, or you know, like it's there's something nice about it. So
Yeah, I understand because I like having my collection there, you know, so people can see my gaming
yes,
credentials.
exactly.
So people can see you have a rich gaming history. So I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, there's something kind of nice to say, like, wow, this is my whole history of games.
Mm. Now, this is the final one. What I want to know is keyboard and mouse or controller?
Well, again, you kind of, it's like I feel like I've had like the most neutral answers to all of these things because I grew up on PC. I grew up on PC and I was hardcore. I was hardcore mouse and keyboard, and I'm not anymore. I'm much broader. I have to be because I play on tons of different things now. So I'm pretty split, but teenage me would have told you keyboard and mouse. It's the only answer. No other gaming counts.
Yeah.
And then my brother grew up on consoles and then became a PC gamer later in life, and now we get in that argument, which is so weird because we've totally flipped sides from where we were maybe like 10 years ago. I'll be honest, a lot of my gaming is I come home and I want to sit on my couch and just sort of chill out. And but when I'm in the office, mouse and keyboard. When I'm at home on my couch, definitely a controller.
I completely agree. I'm the same. I'm on my PC every morning from when I wake up, and then I go to work and I'm on my PC all day. I want to come home, sit back on the couch with my feet on the coffee table and relax and play on my console and not be hunched over a keyboard.
My mom told me that when I was a kid because I was so obsessed with computer games, and I was always sitting at the computer, and I'd be like, Mom, like why don't you spend any time on the computer? And she goes, because that's what I do all day. And I come home and that's not what I want to do. And granted, we're still sort of sitting at a computer on a TV, but we're on a couch, so it's not totally different. But I get what she means now, and I didn't when I was that age.
Absolutely. Well, that concludes the EXL Grill, so thank you so much for participating. It was great to learn some more about Abbie the gamer.
Well, it was really nice to talk to you guys. It was fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, and we're really excited to see what Respawn has coming up for us with the next installment in the Titanfall franchise.
Well, we'll have to talk more when I can talk more about that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it was a pleasure to meet you, Abbie,
It
and
was nice to meet you too.
wish you all the best with your new game.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
You as well.